Look, what's your read on this crackdown in China? Is it really that bad in the long term, or could it be something else?
Bad? This is fantastic news. I mean, it is a rite of passage for freedom technology to get banned in China. Look at Google, look at Facebook. In hindsight, were those sell signals for those stocks or were they buy signals? This means that Bitcoin is working, not that it's failing. It's making nations shiver in their boots. And the fact that the market is responding this way, I don't think they fully understand what's going on here. Nations are now picking a side. China is responding to this like they did with Google, like they did with Facebook. That is incredibly bullish for Bitcoin long term and medium term as the ASICs flow out of China and into the United States.
Okay, so what do you say to the investors who've bought in, who are shivering in their boots, that their that their investment isn't going to be what they thought it was?
Well, those investors are unfortunately not orange-pilled like we are. They're still denominating their returns in US dollars, and to some extent we all are. But in the long run, Bitcoin is going to be where it needs to be. We're going to start valuing our wealth in terms of Bitcoin, and the volatility is the tax that we pay for being on the right side of this trade, this incredible trade. In the long run, that's going to be a huge, huge dividends.
What is where it needs to be to you? I mean, we've heard to a million, to infinity, and beyond. One Lambo by the end of the year, though a cheaper Lambo, I guess. I mean, what's your price prediction?
So I don't like to speak too much about price. In my mind, one Bitcoin is one Bitcoin, and that will always be the case. And the fact that Chinese miners can shut down and go to the United States, and somehow this rocks people's perceptions of the long-term trend, which is that Bitcoin is the greatest store of value in the history of planet Earth. Nothing is even comparable. That's just an opportunity. And when I have cash, it goes into Bitcoin because I know what it is. It's the best savings mechanism, and blips in hash rate, geopolitical tensions with Bitcoin, these are all bosses along the way to the inevitable state of Bitcoin becoming universally identified as the greatest store of value we've ever seen.
So given how much you know about mining, can you explain how are the mining operations in China different from what is happening in the United States?
It's a great question. So in China, a phone call can be made and an entire mining plant can shut down. And the United States is a little bit more tricky because there's something called federalism. We have things like states' rights. So Texas is becoming the global, the capital of Bitcoin mining in the United States right now. If the federal government tried to do something to Texas to get them to shut down their miners, there'd be lawsuits flowing back and forth. There'd be people with guns on the borders of Texas. Greg Abbott is a big supporter of Bitcoin mining, and federalism is why Bitcoin mining operations getting stronger in Texas, getting stronger in Wyoming, getting stronger in Florida is much safer than under a centrally controlling dominant government like China. An ASIC in the United States is more likely to stay up and mine Bitcoin forever than somewhere else where we don't have this kind of distribution of powers at the federal and state level.
Well, speaking about power, are you at all concerned about the position that the U.S. government is going to take on this? We haven't gotten a lot of signals, but we do know that regulation is coming.
Yeah, regulation is coming, I think, more towards the exchange side, the people that sell Bitcoin, things of that nature. But as we see these ASICs flow in from China, when I say ASIC, I mean the Bitcoin mining computer. As we see them flow from China to Texas, Wyoming, and Florida, we're going to see more demand for skilled jobs. We're going to see electricians, campus managers, IT staff, booming industries in these states. And what's going to happen? The governors, the local politicians, the mayors, they're going to double down on Bitcoin mining. So suddenly you're going to have strong state incentives to grow the mining industry there. The positives for renewable energy development can't be overstated. The federal government, they can have their own thoughts on it, but we have states' rights in this country, and that's going to be a big, big boon to Bitcoin in America.
If there were bigger mining operations in the United States, how do you think that would impact Bitcoin adoption?
Well, clarity from the regulatory side, seeing state leaders come out in favor of Bitcoin. If it's not just us weirdos on crypto Twitter talking about Bitcoin, but you have governors and mayors talking about it, it would probably give some sense of security to people who are looking to get their feet wet with Bitcoin. So the more politicians like Cynthia Lummis, Greg Abbott, Mayor Francis Suarez in Miami, the more of these people we have endorsing Bitcoin, the easier it is for other generations to get involved comfortably and get excited about what we have here.